Back in this chapter, we are going to build a full-on animated form right here. So as you can see, we also have a character here blinking and kind of looking at the form. And when we click on this your name here, we're going to have this nice elastic bounce effect to it. Bam. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And we are also going to cover validation here. So if I type in developed by Ed, as you can see, if it only has 1 or 2 characters, it turns red. But if we have more, it turns blue. Same with the email. So as long as it's a valid email, it's gonna turn blue. So that's quite nice. Same for phone numbers. We're gonna do validations and all of these color changes. And if one form is not complete like that, it's gonna just revert back to normal like that. So that's pretty cool. So let's type this back in here. And we also have a little bit of micro animation here. When we click on this notification, it turns nice and blue like that. That's pretty cool. And when we hit submit, our form's gonna get smaller. We're gonna have a nice little wave and a thank you message. All right, so this is really fun. Hopefully you're gonna learn quite a bit. This is one of my favorite projects in this course. So let's get going. Okay, so let's get our project up and going. So we're gonna start again, fully fresh. We're gonna head here to File, Open Folder. I'm just gonna make a new one called Forms. So I believe we started making them in this folder here somewhere. There we go. So we have our cookie, pop-up, text reveal, everything else. I'm gonna make a new folder here and call it Forms. There we go, and open this up. Now I'm gonna provide a few SVGs that I found, which are like the arrow tick and the character that we use. And at the end of this chapter, I'm gonna show you where I found them and how I optimized them to make them animate nicely. For now, you can just copy them over. They're gonna be linked in the course file on this video or besides this video. So I'm just gonna paste in our character, our elastic SVG. Again, everything is gonna be included. And even the final code is going to have all of these SVGs. So these 3, and let me close that up. So make sure you get these 3. And then we're just going to do a simple index.html, all the basic files that we use. So Shift1 and Tab is going to generate our empty HTML. I'm going to call this forms. Let's get a style.css here up and going like that. We're gonna do our classic remove margins and remove paddings. So let's do that here. Siri, stop. It's just, the touch bar on the MacBook is always a nightmare. Okay, so just a little margin, 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. Cool, hit save on that. Let's link it up here. So again, just a link, tab, /style.css. All right, and then we can get our app.js going. And here we'll link it using script, source, /app.js. And that's it. So now all we have left to do is bring in GSAP and maybe a nice font for us to look at, because the basic one is not pretty. So let's go and go to Google Chrome. Wait, I have 2 Google Chromes opened up. Let me close this one. Okay, so let's do Google Fonts. Go here, we'll get Poppins, because that's one of the nicest looking ones in my opinion. So let me just remove all of these that I had before. So click on Poppins. We're gonna select 2 of them. Let's do 400 here. So click on that. And we'll also get the medium and click on that. So this whole big thing here, we're gonna copy over. So Control C or Command C, and let's paste it up here. There we go. And last but not least, we'll get our GSAP. So again, just GSAP CDN. Go all the way down here to CDN.js, copy the script over, go back here, paste it, and we are ready to go. So that's all the setup we need. Not too much. We know we're quite comfortable with this already, hopefully. Yeah, let's start building out the HTML. Let's set up the HTML. So we're gonna basically break this up into 2 sections. Let me just open up the live server here with the finished product so we can see. So we're going to have this section, which is going to have the contact us and the text. This is going to be positioned absolute because we want to put it quite here at the edge of the corner. And then we'll have another section. So we'll do contact right, which is going to hold all the inputs and the button. Okay. So let me just minimize that. So let's get that up and going. So we'll have the left side now, which is the title. So I'll just add a little comment here just to make it clear. So left side of the form. And I'll just make the form out here actually. So form, I'll get rid of the action. Open this up. And then I'll just move this up here. No, Mozilla. Paste it here. Perfect. Okay, so here I'm just going to make a few divs. I'm going to call this contact left. So basically this contact left is going to hold the title here and the paragraph for us. Okay, let me minimize this. Perfect. So in here, we're going to have a H1. I'm going to call this title like that. Let me scroll down here. I'm going to call this contact us. And then we'll have a little description here, which is going to be a paragraph actually. So p.description. I'm going to say, let's stay in touch. And I'm actually going to add a break here to kind of separate it. So br, like that. I'll add a dot here, like that. And after that, I'll say for more information, comma, I'll add another break. Just change this to BR, sign up, and hit save. Okay, just a paragraph with some breaks in there, nothing too complicated. And that's it. That's all of our left side. Again, the image, the character that we have there animating is going to be positioned independently with position absolute. So don't worry about that for now. Okay, so let's add another comment here just to keep everything nice and organized. I'm going to call this right side of the form. Perfect. So here I'll make another div called contact right. Hit tab to generate that. And here we'll have quite a couple of things actually. So all the inputs will have a container. So I'm going to call them input container. So here's where we'll have the placeholder text, the input, and the line that's gonna, this elastic line here that animates. So it's actually 3 things here. So placeholder, the input there, and the line. Okay, so let's go. Let's do the placeholder first. So I'm going to say p class placeholder, like that. I'm going to call this your name, like that. And in here, I'm going to have an input that's going to be type text, which is fine. I'm going to add a name of names or name. I'm going to turn off autocomplete. This is optional, but you can add it if you wanted to. And here I'll add a class of input name and a general input, which all the inputs are going to have. Okay, so we have our placeholder, we have our input, and finally, I'm just going to go over here, and you can go as well, and we'll just copy over this elastic SVG. So copy that over and paste it down there. That already has a class of elastic line on it. I added it when I prepped up the SVG. Again, don't worry, I'll show you at the end of the episode, at the end of this chapter, how to get this ready. But essentially, it's just an SVG line. That's it. Okay, so that's it. That's one. So now we can just copy and paste this over. So click on the input container div here, and it's going to highlight everything for you. So we can just drag up like this and copy paste this 2 more times. So 1 and 2. And hit save. Okay, now we need to make some small modifications here. So for the second one here, we're just going to change it to your email. The input type here, let's see, it's going to be type email. And the name is going to be email as well. All right. Then here, we're going to say input email. And that should be pretty much it. Everything else can be kept the same way. And finally, we'll do the same with the phone. So your number. Let's just say phone number. Like that. And this is going to be a type of telephone. So T-E-E-L, T-E-L. And here input. Let's do, let me see here, just 1 second. Input type, we'll do number, input number, input. Okay, that should be it. So we have that ready. Let's open up Live Server and see what we got going. There we go. So that's our SVG line. There's our input and there's our name. Perfect. Let's close this up. And after all of this, so let's go here. So highlight the input container, the last one. And after that, down here, we are going to have our little checkbox. So for that, let's do this. Let me see if I have the correct position of this actually. Let's see what this div is. Oh, that's the contact right. Okay, so here is where contact right ends. So we still want it in between these two on line 46. Okay, so for this one, we'll create a promo container. All right, so this promo container is basically, let me open up Safari so you can see. So the promo container is going to hold the box here, the check mark, SVG check mark, and this promotional text right here. So I'll create a promo container. And in here, we'll have a checkbox container. And in here, I'll have a check mark. I know this is a bit crazy. Check mark. And then we'll have it fill up. So this is our actual check mark. And then we need another div to basically fill this up like that, right? So that's basically an empty div that's going to come over on top. And then another SVG animating in. Okay, so to do that, we have our check mark there. And then we'll do, and this check mark here is basically the border, the outlining border. So here we'll do check box fill, hit tab, and then another input here. So input type is going to be checkbox, just so we have something to click on. And this is going to be type checkbox. Checkbox, like that. Cool. Hit save. And then finally, we'll have our little SVG. So we need to look for, I copied over the wrong thing actually here. Let me get rid of this. Delete. I need to copy over the tick mark that's going to animate in. So I'll just paste that here. All right, so just grab this tick mark and paste it down here. Again, that's going to be included, so don't worry. And that's going to be it. I believe so. Let me double check to make sure we don't need anything else. Oh yeah, we can add the label, the text. So SVG, and outside of this checkbox container, we'll go down here and create a label. Get rid of this. And just say class, checkbox, label. And we're gonna say here, send me promotions and offers. That was a nice sneeze. Okay, and after this, out here, So after the label and this div, we're going to go here and just add a button that's going to say join. And that's it. Okay, so I know this is a bit like, whoa, that's so much damn HTML for a little checkbox. But unfortunately, you have to do some workarounds to animate a checkbox. There's no nice way of doing it. But again, nothing too crazy really. So this promo container, let me just go through it again to make it super clear. The promo container is going to be this whole section here. Actually, let me just open this up in Chrome and I'll inspect the element so you can see it. Actually, that might close up now because I don't have it open. Oh, there we go. So let me inspect the element. So here we go. Let's just look at the structure again. So this is our promo container here. This whole thing, right? So it holds the checkbox and the text and the label. If we open it up, then we have the checkbox container there. So again, we use this specifically to position absolute all the symbols inside. So the ticker, so that check mark there, the checkbox fill, right, which is going to kind of fill up the checkbox. As you can see, it's kind of down there and it's going to come on top of it. And then the actual input and then the SVG. So again, we're using this to kind of just this check mark here, checkbox container, to position everything on top of each other. So we can start animating these different divs and SVGs in here. And that's it. And then we just have the label. Okay, so I hope that clears it up a little bit. All right, and that's it. I believe we have everything we need in our HTML. Let me also just pop this open and bring it over to Chrome. I prefer Chrome. If you want to use a browser, make sure you use Chrome or Firefox. Safari is quite bad. Okay, yeah, that should be it. Oh, and actually, we can bring in our character. We forgot about our character, but we can do that a bit later on because that's just a copy paste in. Okay, so that's going to be it for the HTML. Let's style this up and make it look pretty. See you there. Okay, let's get started on the CSS. So let's go over here to style.css. There we go. And for here, I'm just going to grab our body, add a display flex to this, a justify content center, and align item center. So the whole reason we're doing this, just to put the form in the middle of the screen. That's it. And if we had a height of 100 VH, if we check up here, it just drops it right there in the middle. Okay, cool. We're gonna add a font family. We're gonna change it to the Poppins that we imported. So Poppins, comma, sans serif. Perfect. Then down here, we're gonna add a little background, a linear gradient, just to make this look a bit prettier. So linear gradient, we're gonna do 19 degrees. And the color I use for this one is gonna be, whoops, let me go back here. It's gonna be 6190 E8. So that's one, comma. And the second one is gonna be A7 BF E8. And that's gonna be it. Hit save. Let's take a look, and there we go. We have our nice gradient going. Cool. And that's gonna be it here for the body. So let's go over to the form. Grab the form. We'll add a little height to it. I'm doing 40 VH. A little width. I'm gonna do 40 VW. Right, give it a little size. Now I'll add the background color so you can actually see it. So background white. And there we go. So that's the size of our form. Again, you can change it, you can modify it, feel free. It doesn't have to look the same. I'm working on a really big monitor here, so if it looks a bit like the font sizes and the width and the height looks a bit different for you, just increase this to 50, 60, and the width as well, and you'll be fine. Color, we're gonna use, I found this nice gray for us. 777474. Let's hit save. There we go. That's looking nice. And then I'll add a border radius to it of 2 rem. That's going to make it look really pretty there. Perfect. And I'm going to add a bit of padding. So I'm going to say 3 rem and 5 rem. So 3 rem is going to be top and bottom, and 5 rem is going to be left and right. All right, so we want a bit more space on the left and right and a bit less here. That's a preference, by the way. You can do it however you want. Okay, now let's grab the title. We'll do a color of, let's do 6391E8. Oh, it's actually the color from up here. So you can copy paste that over. Perfect. So there we go. That's what we have. You know what else we need to do is I want to put the contact. So the contact should stay here and the form should go on this side of the screen. So what I'm going to do here in the form is just add a display flex. So again, that's going to boop, drop it like that. Perfect. So now I want to make them the same size. So as you can see, contact us takes up as much space as it needs. And then this section takes up quite a bit. So I want to make them the same size. And the way you can do that is we can grab contact right and then the contact left. And we can add a flex 1 to each. So if you add flex 1, that's going to make it the same size. Perfect. Now let's get the contact right. Contact right. And now the display flex to it. Now I don't want it to be like that. So I'm going to do a flex direction column. So this doesn't do anything yet. Keeps everything the same way. However, what we can do is add a justify content space between, like that, to space these out a little bit more. Okay, now let's grab our input and start making some changes. I'll grab the input, make the width 100%, the height 100%, hit save. There we go. So now they're super big, as you can see. However, what I want to do in this case is I want to position the input over our container. So we don't have our container yet, but we'll grab it now and we'll position it on top of that. So if I grab the input container here, just so you can see, add a background color of blue. All right, so that's our container. That holds our label, our name, and our line. So what I want to do is take this box, this input box, and place it right on top of the container. Okay, I'm going to remove this blue for now. So the way we can do that is add a position relative to the container and a position absolute to the input. So what we're saying is here is position this input relative to the container. So that, okay, we cannot see it yet, but what we need to do here is add a top 0 basically to it, top 0, and hit save. So there we go. So it goes right on top of that container. Perfect. I'm also going to get rid of the border. So let's do border. I'm going to say none. Okay, so that gets rid of everything. Now we cannot see the label because this input is on top of it, which is fine. We're gonna bring it in just a bit. Actually, let's do it now. So let's get that placeholder. So the way we can put it on top is go down here, grab the placeholder, add a position relative to it, and then all you need to do is add a z-index of 1. And that's going to put it right on top. So as you can see now, if we do an inspect element, placeholder. So here we go. We have our input container. There we go, input container. There's our placeholder, and our input takes up the full size of that container. So no matter where we're clicking here, it's always going to click inside that input, which is really nice, which is what we want. Okay, so now that we have that, what I also want to do is remove the pointer events from this text. I don't want this text to be selected. When I click on this text, I still want the input to be activated. So what we can do is just say pointer events, none. Hit save, let's try it, click, and as you can see, the form still gets clicked. I'll add a bit of padding to this, 0.3 rem and 0 rem, hit save. Now the reason why I'm doing this, I'm gonna remove it so you can see it. It's when we add the line, I want a bit more space for it. So let's add the line as well here, and then we'll kind of configure everything. Line SVG. So again, all I want to do here is do a position absolute. And in this case, I want to put it at the bottom of that input container. So it's going to be left 0 and bottom 0. And hit save. And there we go. So we have our line, we have our input, everything is working lovely. So again, I want to take this text and just put it a bit higher off the line. If you're still feeling a bit uncomfortable with the positionings and stuff like that, I do have a HTML and CSS course out there for you. Just a little plug there, cheeky little plug. Okay, so what I want to do here on the placeholder, let's add that padding in, 0.3 rem, 0 rem. Hit save. There we go, just separating it a bit more. And then I'll decrease the font size. I'll do 0.6 rem because it looks nice on my monitor. If it's too big for you, feel free, if too small for you, feel free to make it a little bit bigger. I'll do a little opacity here, 0.6 or so, just to fade it out, because it's more like a placeholder text, really. Okay, and that should be all good there. Let's fix up this checkbox down here. So for that, all we need to do is grab the checkbox. So let's go down here. Actually, let's do the checkbox. Checkbox label. We'll do a font size of 0.7 rem on this. Just like that. Okay. Let's do all the CSS for the promo container. So promo container. We'll add a position relative to this, which will not do anything yet. All I want to do is put this text besides the button there. So just the display flex is going to do it like that. Perfect. I'm using the position relative here to do some position absolute in just a bit. So I'm going to grab the checkbox, add an opacity of 0 to it, and a cursor of pointer. So this checkbox is the actual input. I don't really want to see it. It's not going to really do anything for us. I want to hide it. I just want this to be clickable. That's all. So checkbox done. Let me do a refresh on here. Okay, cool. Next up, let's grab the checkbox label. We'll add a bit of padding. Padding left 0.5 rem. And hit save, just to push it a little bit out to the side. Okay. Let's see why. I think this form, actually this page is not working properly. Oh, there we go, never mind. This is the finished one. Let me go back to it. There we go. Because this form is still clickable. So let me just see what's going on here. Input type checkbox, here it is. Oh, okay, it doesn't seem to have the opacity 0 on it. So I might have made a little mistake. Let's just check here in our HTML very quickly. So let me open this back up. We should have a checkbox. Oh, I did check mark actually.